Narok, Bomet, so that it is in the stores waiting for farmers to come and pick. So to me, that is a major milestone, a major turnaround of that program. And I'm sure the farmers of this country and the country will benefit a lot. The other issue which was there is making sure that we stabilize the sector so that there was a lot of issues which were coming, especially for tea. Tea which was not being sold in Mombasa. I had to go there and make sure that we unlock the potential for that. Making sure that our agencies are working well. Agriculture has a lot of agencies and they had a lot of issues. So those are the issues which kept me busy for the last 4 months. And I'm very proud that some of them will start bearing fruit very fine. So the qualification I have for Brazil is that, as you, Chair and my other members know, first of all is my background in agriculture. Brazil is a big agriculture country, which has a lot of, as you know, coffee, soya beans, beef, and other products which are coming from Brazil. And I use my extensive background in agriculture and other areas to make sure that our relationship with Brazil, especially on agriculture, and other particular areas which are important to this country, like the green energy, the issues to do with climate change, which Brazil is very much advocating for, the South-South cooperation, which Kenya and Brazil can cooperate. I will give those high priority. And I can say that I'm lucky that when I interacted with the mission in Brasilia, they have already a strategic engagement plan. And if approved by this House, by this committee and the House, I'm sure I will not start from zero. I will start from that, with that strategic plan. We will review it. We will see areas where we can cooperate. I know there are memorandums of understanding. There are other areas which are pending, including a memorandum of understanding between us and with the Brazil on agriculture and livestock development, and also on defense. So those are the areas which I will look into. And of course, there is the diaspora, the Latin America. I happily noted that the mission in Brasilia and the mission in Cuba have already started last November to engage the diaspora in that area. And they have formed the Kenya in Latin America Diaspora Organization, CARA. So I'm going to intensify my effort to make sure that CARA works. We get to use the diaspora well in Latin America. I know it's a big area which has not been well covered. So those are the key priorities which I'll give. Then quickly to Honorable Martha Wangari. My tenure as CS was short, 4 months actually and a few days. And I would say that, as I have said, I was appointed by His Excellency the President. I'm thankful. I don't want to second guess His Excellency the President. He has many considerations why he have to make his cabinet. I know it was not about performance. It is about maybe other considerations. But all said, I would like to say that His Excellency the President, you don't question his appointing authority, and so you agree to what he suggests to you. And I'm very thankful that despite my short tenure, he found it even fit to give me another responsibility as an ambassador, which is still a great honor to represent Kenya, if approved, in Brazil, a great country, a big country, the 5th largest in terms of size and area, and also one of the largest economies in the world. So it's still a great honor. So to me, the short time was not much of performance. It was about issues to do with the considerations of His Excellency the President. If I can go back to the public statements, when you come into office, you first of all deal with what you meet on the table, and you start to learn because you are new. And it's only that in the 3rd month you now start going out and making sure that you make the statements which are supposed to be made. But I believe sometimes you have to work and let the work be seen. So the work which I was given, it had not come at a time when I felt that I needed to maybe to come out in the public to make statements. But the work which I have done, and as I was described, was very, very much will come to be known. The coffee reforms. Yes, the coffee reforms are still not complete. I've tried, when I came in, one of the issues which I met on the table was to make sure that we have a policy in place. And what I did is make sure that that policy, the coffee development policy, makes its way to the cabinet so that they can guide the sector. And I'm happy to note, during my tenure also, the coffee bill 2024 was negotiated by both the chambers of parliament, the Senate and National Assembly, and it is being awaited, very much eagerly awaited, so that they can help the reform. I was looking forward towards implementing that. But I'm sure the coffee reforms will come into fruition with the new regime, of the new legal framework. The pillars of foreign policy. And I would like to say that, yes, one of the areas which I would like to focus on, as I have said, is on the economic and commercial diplomacy. Because I know Brazil is a big country, has a lot of interest in terms of manufacturing, agriculture, and other areas. And there are a lot of avenues for making sure that our two countries have more economic and commercial diplomacy. When you look at even trade between Kenya and Brazil, it is too much in favor of Brazil, the terms of trade. And I'm sure, for instance, one of the areas which, as I mentioned, where we were looking at when I was a cabinet secretary, is to open up markets for tea. Our tea, we are producing a lot of tea. Tea production has gone up, but our markets they are not very robust. We have relied on a few markets, but when you look at the country like Brazil, it is importing very little from Kenya in terms of tea. So one of the areas we'll be looking into is, can we even move a basic commodity like tea to Brazil? Because that is a market which can consume a lot of our tea and other agricultural products. Then the other issue which I would like to give high priority is environmental and climate diplomacy. As I have said, Brazil is a good partner in terms of climate change, in terms of environment. In fact, this year, 2025, Brazil will be hosting the conference of parties, COP, the COP, we know, the COP 30. So that will be a major area where we can cooperate, make sure that Kenya plays a role as a leader. As we all know, Kenya is a leader in climate change in Africa, and we need to make sure that we cooperate with a country like Brazil, which also happen to be a big champion of the environment and climate change. And green energy. Green energy, like we need to invest in green energy. We need to invest in mobility. And I noted one of our companies from Brazil, Marco Polo, is here based in Kenya, doing some of the work in terms of motorbikes and buses, green buses. So those are the areas which we would like to strengthen further. And of course, the diaspora, as I've said. The labor market, yes, this is an opportunity for us. I would go for it, and I would look at all the avenues where we can be able to open up the labor market in Brazil, especially for young people. As you know, Brazil has a big population of African descent, maybe 50%. So it will not be, although the only challenge there is maybe the language, but we will be able to look at avenues where we can be able to open up our labor markets in Southern and Latin America. And I noted that the mission in Brasilia is not only covering Brazil, it's also covering others, 6 countries. Argentina, Peru, and Peru, there is Ecuador, there is Paraguay, Uruguay. So those countries also have opportunities. So I take this as a big mission station which can be able to help us to open up the Latin America. I don't think we are doing enough in terms of cooperating between Kenya, East Africa, and the Latin America. So this is a golden opportunity, Mr. Chairman and members. I will look forward to it. Thank you.
We'll take 3 questions, Honorable Kandie, Honorable Abdikadir, and then Honorable Mamusi. Just for a quick one, let me allow the members who have just come in to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Chair, and Happy New Year. My name is Freddie Kana, Member of Parliament, Shinyalo constituency, and a member of this committee. Thank you.
I am Moses Krima, a Member of Parliament, Central Meru County. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning. My name is Kwenya Thuku, Member of Parliament for Kinangop.
Honorable Kandie.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to congratulate the nominee for the nomination he has gotten for Brazil. And Chair, I have maybe 2 questions which I think he has touched on. One is the negative trade balance of Brazil and Kenya of about 150 million. What will he do to change this? If you are given this job, what will you do to change the situation in favor of Kenya? 2, you have also talked of language barrier, which is a big issue in terms of communicating with the people in South America. It is not only Portuguese, but there is also Spanish. And looking at your CV, I have not seen those 2 languages. What will you do in order to make sure that you effectively help us to get what you have said now?
Thank you, Chair. Also, congratulations for the appointment. My question is on what do you think Brazil is so good in, that especially in technology, that you want to maybe transfer the skills to Kenya? You know, Brazil, especially in aviation industry, Brazil is, I think, is a manufacturer of Embraer. And Embraer planes are used almost everywhere. So what do you think you can transfer to Kenya so that you can benefit? Secondly, about immigration. Brazil is usually transit for Kenyans who want to migrate to America, USA, illegally. And most of them, they get held up there for some time. So what do you think you can do, at least to assist Kenyans who are held up in Brazil and want to migrate to US illegally? Thank you.
Honorable Brigadier, your second question is a bit. Are you suggesting that people should be illegally migrating to other countries? I think.
What I mean is mostly it's illegal immigration. They don't go through the right channels. Brazil is a transit. You must have heard about the major caravans that moved to America. So some Kenyans are stuck in Brazil up to now. I know.
Honorable Mamusi.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations, Dr. Andrew, for your nomination. You have talked about the coffee industry, tea, and you've also mentioned something to do with the fertilizer. I want to ask you a question related to the livestock industry in Kenya. That's my area of interest. And first of all, I would like you to tell us, what do you think, in your opinion, is ailing this industry? What do you think we can borrow from Brazil in terms of building resilience for Kenyan pastoralists, in terms of drought? How does Brazil do it? How do we improve our breeds? The outgoing ambassador, Ambassador Canto, managed to bring embryos from Brazil to Kenya for the first time. And it was a tiresome process. It took too long. And this is because of our stringent policies, and yet the breeds out there are better than what we have. What do you think we can do about such policies that hinder our farmers from improving their breeds or tapping into technology? And also, having brought these embryos into Kenya, we lack the expertise. We have to get Brazilians to come and do the embryo transfer. How do you think we can learn from how they do it in Brazil? What do you think you would do to transfer that knowledge to Kenya? And Ambassador or Dr. Karanja, a lot of nominees have sat on that seat, and they've given us lip service. I hope if you're given this opportunity, you're going to be a man of action. Thank you.
Please respond. Keep it brief if you can.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Honorable Kadir, for your question on trade balance. I think that is what I said, that the issue about promoting the economic and commercial diplomacy between Kenya and Brazil will be a high priority. And I thank the mission in Brasilia. When you look at the last few years, they have ratcheted up this issue about engagement on commercial and economic diplomacy. So I'm going to build on that, make sure that the trade balance, as I have said, is a bit more balanced, because it is far much in favor. First of all, is to grow the trade between the two countries, and also to correct the imbalance. And one of the areas I'm seeing is areas where Kenya can have a comparative advantage. And as I have indicated, for instance, areas like tea. We have a lot of tea. We are looking for markets. Why don't we sell to Brazil? We have a lot of some manufactured goods, which Brazil is also looking into. I noted that, for instance, they are very good in terms of if we can promote our cotton here, they are able to absorb a lot of apparels and others. So those are the areas which we will promote and be able to come up with trade missions between inbound and outbound of Brazil to come to Kenya and do the investment and do the improve our trade. Language barrier. The language barrier is there, and it's not going to be wished away. What I can say that, yes, I don't know any Portuguese. That's for sure. But I'm going to make an effort to make sure that at least I learn some survival Portuguese. When I read there, I'm sure I can find a few coaches who can help me to learn to survive, the survival Portuguese, because at this age, I don't think I can master the Portuguese. I understand it's a bit difficult language, but at least if I'm approved as an ambassador, I'll try my level best to learn the language, at least to survive. And I'm sure I'm also, where I can't, these days, you can even, I'm sure in the mission, you get an interpreter who can help you. And even, I understand, even these days, you can even get a language translation from your phone. You don't have to really struggle too much. So that is a barrier, but it is not an impeding barrier and not a binding barrier. Yes, Honorable, yes, technology transfer. And yes, Brazil has advanced technologies in certain areas. One of the areas which, as it has been pointed out, is the issue about, for instance, our airplanes, which we are using, Kenya Airways, the Embraer, is quite a high technology. Even in defense, they are using technologies. They have other technologies like the green energy technologies, which we can use. So the issue about technology transfer is one of the areas which we look into in most of the areas which we will be engaging in terms of, for instance, renewable and clean energy, manufacturing, ICT, and also even in our construction industry. And I even understand the some of the technologies being used in affordable housing. There was a team which went to Brazil to look at how they are handling some of these issues. So there are many areas of technology transfer, and we are, as if approved by this committee and the House, I can assure you that we open up those technology transfer mechanisms so that Kenya can benefit from the technology in Brazil. And there are companies from Brazil which are already in Kenya doing some of these technology transfers. Illegal migration, this is a difficult area, as the chair has pointed out. It's not an area which, it is an international area, especially knowing what is going on in USA. And what, as a mission, I can, as if approved as an ambassador, what I can do is try to make sure that the Kenyans who are illegally in Brazil are helped to find their way, either back to Kenya or to wherever they are going. But you know, you can't force another country to take somebody in, and especially given what is happening in North America about the illegal and immigration policy. So this is a dicey area which definitely we work as an ambassador and also be helped by our headquarters here in Nairobi. Yes, Honorable Kanchori, the livestock is one of the greatest potential you have in this country. Let's be honest about that, because 2/3 of our country is arid or semi-arid, and this is mainly where the livestock is based. And we have a lot of potential. And also in high potential areas, we have the dairy, which is also high potential, you know, has a lot of potential. And I am aware that there is a team of Kenyan scientists who have recently been to Brazil to learn about embryo transfer. And the mission in Brasilia, our mission in Brasilia has also been facilitating the transfer of breeds in livestock, including embryos transfer, and making sure that Kenyans are able to do that. And our agencies like the Kenya Genetic Resource Organization, KAGRIC, and Kenya Agricultural Development Corporation, ADC, has been involved in this transfer of technology, especially for livestock. Brazil happens to be the largest beef exporter in the world. So there are a lot of technologies which they can be able to share with Kenya. And one of the key areas which is hampering our livestock sector is especially on the feeding programs. How do we latch up our feeding program? Because both in livestock, both in pastoral livestock and also in dairy and other livestock, the major component which is causing a lot of problems, apart from genetics, is also feeding. We spend a lot of money, a lot of resources in terms of feeding. For instance, in dairy, we are spending around almost 60%. Animals, in pigs and chicken, we are spending around 60% of the cost in terms of feeding. So we will look at what is Brazil doing in terms of feeding. Apart from genetics, what are their systems of applying the feeds? I know they are good in terms of soybeans, which they can import as a raw material for our animal feeds. I know they are good also in other cereals, which they are doing for for the animals. And now that there is an opportunity, if allowed by the agencies in Kenya, of having to import some of these GMOs, then that is a possibility which can happen, because Brazil also happens to be a good producer of some of the cereals like soybeans. So we will be able to explore all that and make sure that it benefits our livestock sector. Thank you very much.
Do we have any more questions? Honorable Kwenya, and then Honorable Ikana, and then Honorable Krima. Let's keep them short.
Yeah, Chair, thank you for the opportunity, and sorry for stepping in a bit late. Now, I want in a very special way, first of all, to compliment the candidate for his vast knowledge in the field of agriculture, and happy to note that Brazil is an agricultural country, majorly an agricultural country. Chairman, I have noted with a lot of concern, and the former CS did quite some work in the Ministry of Agriculture, but that was never known because of failure to effectively communicate the same. And Chair, if you allow me, I'll read a scripture that is in the book of, because he's a Christian, he's a professed Catholic, that is in the book of Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 8 and verse 16. It says that no one lights up a lamp and hides it in a clay jar or puts it under the bed. Instead, they put it on a stand so that those whom come in can see the light. Today, some of the challenges that we're facing as a government, Chairman, if you allow me to say, is failure to communicate government policy effectively and in time. And specifically, Chair, I want to speak on the issue of livestock vaccines that squarely lie under his, that is an agricultural ministry issue. This issue has not been communicated, yet we know some of the problems that we're having in the Ministry of Agriculture in terms of livestock is because our beef does not meet the standards of the world, the world standards that are prescribed because of lack of vaccinations in time. And therefore, I would urge the candidate, because you have all this knowledge, we have no doubt in your capacity, but when it comes to communication, can we, ambassador in Brazil, time, what needs to be known, let it just be known in time, so that then we don't get ourselves into the quagmire like the one that we are in at the moment. Chair, I do not have any question for the candidate. I think he fits the bill. All he needs to do is to up his game in terms of communication.
I will ignore that last bit. It's unfortunate that as a vetting member of parliament, you've decided to endorse a candidate before the other members even communicate their suitability. But your mind can be spoken without necessarily having to address it here at another venue. But I get your point also, and I think Dr. Kwenya raises a very profound, Honorable Kwenya raises a very profound point, that the failure to communicate on government position, particularly on vaccine, might have costed you your job. And this is a very serious position, and Honorable Yusuf will tell you that a diplomatic posting is a very sensitive, because now you are dealing with even more countries and dealing with more governments. It is important that we are able to understand what might really have happened, so that again you don't have a short stint as a diplomat if this committee approves you. What will have been the challenge? Why did the president, of course you might not know, but in less than 4 months, in my view, might have been a challenge in terms of your performance, and not as your performance as a cabinet secretary of agriculture, because you're extremely competent in matter agriculture, but might be the failure to communicate and vocalize the government agenda. That might have costed you, and that is what Honorable Kwenya, in my view, is trying to address, and probably even to communicate to this committee how you will now do it differently if this committee approves you, and how you intend to build from the weaknesses that probably you've realized when you've reflected in the last few days after you removed as a cabinet secretary. You may now proceed to respond to those few questions.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Konya, for your... I agree 100%. The issue about communication in government is a challenge which not only affects one state department or the other, and it is a challenge which we arrived to because when we, for instance, when we got into the appointed as cabinet secretaries, one of the challenges definitely we got from His Excellency the President is that we need to up our game on communication. But as members, honorable members, realize that communication is, yes, it is important and very critical, but it is also a challenging area in that sometimes you communicate in one way, but given the many channels of communication these days which we have, the message might be distorted in one way or the other, or it might come from the other come out differently. For instance, the issue about the vaccination, despite the good intentions, which the government has on vaccination, and there are good reasons, and which as a cabinet secretary and my team tried to make sure that we communicate with the members of the public, and even briefed His Excellency the President, who also helped us to communicate the same. We were very surprised to hear that other things were being said about vaccination, which got out of hand through the other social media and other areas. And it is not about vaccination alone. There are other areas which were coming through, sometimes misinformation. So I agree 100%, Mr. Chair, that and members, that in my new position, I'm more wiser in terms of making sure that I become very careful in terms of communication, making sure that I not only communicate, use all the means possible, but also communicate on time and clearly, and where there are distortions coming through, they are countered on time, because that, I think, is one of the weaknesses, that you let something go and then it gets its own life, and before you know, something has really been distorted. Because, like, you can use the example of vaccination, claiming that the government was vaccinating animals so that because somebody else has told us. I've never met that person who was being claimed as a cabinet secretary. I have never met him. I have never met that organization. I don't know whether there is any vaccination where you can change the genetic makeup of an animal by vaccination. So those are the things which we try to, but I'm not trying to defend vaccination here, but I'm saying those are the things which, when you ignore them, they get a life on their own. So communication is something which is a challenge, and I take the challenge going forward, and I will try, and I promise this committee that I do my best in terms of ensuring there is better communication from the mission, if I'm approved, if there is better communication from the mission in Brasilia. Thank you.
Honorable Ikana.
Chairman, if you allow, mine is also a very brief comment.
Okay, so then Dr. Ari will take both of them, Honorable Ikana's and Honorable Krima.
Okay, thank you. Chairman, my comment is just to really commend the nominee before us for positively affirming that he has always been willing and ready to serve the country in whatever position that His Excellency the President deems fit for him. That's a very positive attitude, and I think it should be commended. But also I want to emphasize on the need of attempting to learn as much as possible, at least conversational Portuguese when you go to Brazil. And I'll give you a head start. If you are approved by Parliament and this committee, that you at least need to know how to say, how are you? You just say, como vai? It's just like Kimeru. Thank you.
That is a comment, and on the point of accepting to serve in any capacity, even me as a person, I would like to applaud you. Shortly after you finish, I'll be reading one of your colleagues who's declined a posting. So, I mean, if you are ready to take any office that was available, and I think that is quite respectful. Honorable Krima.
Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations to the Ambassador for his appointment. But, Chairman, having taken the cue from you, where one has, Chairman? Nomination. Thank you, Chair, for that correction. But having taken a cue from you where one refused the appointment, my good question to the Ambassador appointee is this, nominee is this, Dr. Karanja, I'm happy and may say, I'm happy to hear from you when you talk about the vaccination of our animals. Because when you are there, you know you are addressing the whole nation. Because whatever you are doing there, I believe is being broadcasted to the whole country. Is this vaccination have anything to do with the Bill Gates mood of reducing the population in Africa? Because that's the that's the notion which is going out to the common man. And it's the high time that at least you can explain to the livestock farmers, me included, because that's what has been being there, and that's why you see people are resistant to the same. When we talk of failing to articulate government policies and issues, it's fact, it's true that it's not coming out what the government is doing, in despite of the good will of the government and the efforts which the executive and even the members of the legislature are putting. The internal people in the government are not giving out proper information. And that's one of the handles we have in vaccination. Now, since you are there and you have been the Minister for Agriculture, come out clear. Tell us if it has anything to do with the reduction of population. That's one. Then, that one is, by the way, because I've taken it from the chairman. Now, mine is this. I've seen that you have been to various universities and you have studied specifically in the field of agriculture, Dr. But I've not seen anything to do with diplomacy or administration, public administration.
He's responded to that. He has already responded.
I'm sorry, Chairman, but as you have corrected me, if it has been done well and good. May I go to the second one? I've also seen the thesis you have written about small-scale farmers, which you have talked about agriculture and livestock. In this thesis, they look so good, the way I've seen it, because even I've studied some of them. And, you know, we have those people who are so good when it comes to bond room, writing and articulating issues, but when it comes to the field, they are just lame duck. What have you done, or where your thesis have been put into practice, especially like these few months when you have been the Minister for Agriculture, so that at least they could have assisted the common man in this country? For you know, we entirely depend on agriculture in our livelihood. That's one of the questions. The second one, you've been the Minister for Agriculture just for 4 months. And to me, having been appointed just for 4 months, and now you are taking the second appointment, and the one which you are taking now is the ambassador. Don't you think that it connotes incompetency for you to have been appointed for a very short stint, the Minister of Agriculture, and you have been dropped? And if that's how it is being thought of, why didn't you also decline? For you have been declined by the appointing authority not to be competent, the Minister of Agriculture. Thank you, Chairman.
Respond, Dr.
When sit and silent, we have come with you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair and honorable members. I would like to handle the issue about, I think the issue about language was already discussed, and I have said I've committed to making sure that I agree. You can't survive in Brazil without Portuguese, so I will take time to learn the language, basic language, then the rest. The issue about, from the honorable member, about livestock and vaccination, that is what I was talking about. I didn't want to mention the names of Bill Gates and the rest, because I think, as I have said, I've never met Bill Gates, I've never met the Gates Foundation. And the vaccination campaign which the government is engaged in is for the mere fact that, first of all, vaccination always goes on, is still going on even as we speak today, in the pastoral communities and elsewhere, because foot and mouth and other diseases are ongoing. What is happening is that what this program is doing is, first of all, to coordinate that vaccination. Because if you vaccinate in one county, let's say Kajiado, and Narok doesn't vaccinate, and then there is movement of livestock, then that becomes a zero-sum game, because that doesn't add up. So the issue was about coordination, so that we do it as a campaign, and we eradicate foot and mouth and other diseases for sheep and goats, so that we are able to access better markets for livestock. So it was about coordination. It was about making sure we have also eradicated some of these tradable diseases like foot and mouth, so that we can be able to access our better markets. Currently, we are limited in some of the markets because of, we are said, we are disease. Secondly and thirdly is about food safety. Consuming meat from and other products, animal products from diseased animals, is usually a danger to human beings. So when you have a sick animal, foot and mouth, the guts and skin, which most people don't even inspect. So if we eradicate those diseases, we are also improving the human in food safety, the products from animal livestock. So those are the major motivations for doing the vaccination, and still is. And what I would also say that the vaccines which are being used for this vaccination are being produced here in Embakasi by the Kenya Vaccine Production Institute, KVAVAPI. It is a Kenyan parastatal. It has been producing these vaccines for the last 16 years. We have been even exporting, as we are speaking, to Uganda and other countries in the region. So it has got nothing to do with external influence. So that message and that information should have gone out to the farmers, so that they are safe, the vaccine is safe, it is Kenyan produced, it has nothing to do with what is alleged that animals are being targeted for. And it will even be foolhardy, because if there are any alterations to be done on genetics of animals, where to start is some of the countries which have big herds like Brazil, which have big herds. USA, some countries in Europe has big herds. It's not Kenya actually which has big herds. So there is nothing sinister about the vaccination. So I would like to, as a former Minister for Agriculture, I would like to assure the Kenyans that this committee and Parliament that there was nothing sinister about it. The issue about practical applications, yes, I have had several practical applications, especially from my work, as it was I have indicated in terms of the coffee reforms where I worked before. The fertilizer subsidy program, I've worked with that before. And even when I was in the World Bank, we worked on issues to do with reform in the institutions. So all those are practical works which are there. And it is true that the 4 months which I was a cabinet secretary for agriculture is not enough for once to really point out, as I have said in the beginning, major steps which you have taken. But the task which I was given, and I would like to repeat maybe for the member, honorable member, one of the tasks which I was given when I came in was to stabilize and to make sure I streamline the subsidy program, the fertilizer subsidy program, which I have very proudly to say here, I have done. Today, fertilizer is waiting for farmers. It is quality fertilizer. It is not the other way around when we had issues which made even my predecessor to be impeached. So I think that is a very big positive move. And I am proud of that I stabilized that. The appointment, as I have said, and Chairman and honorable members, I would like to state here that I'm a Kenyan citizen and a law-abiding citizen, and I respect authority. And when His Excellency the President assigns me to an assignment, I always do. I agree 100% that obedience is very important. You can say whatever you want to say, but obedience is very important. I would not like to second guess His Excellency the President, why he appointed me. I was not a politician. He appointed me. He gave me an opportunity, a golden opportunity for 4 months. And then he found it important and very critical that he gives me another assignment in Brazil. So to me, I would not like to second guess His Excellency the President. It was not about performance. It was about other considerations. And I would like to free him from any notions that I did not perform. And I am going to assure this committee and the House that the new assignment is also important. When you serve as a representative of the President of the Republic of Kenya, when you serve as the representative of the Republic of Kenya, when you serve on behalf of the people of Kenya in Brasilia, to represent in 7 countries, it is a big honor to me, and I appreciate it very much. And I would like to thank the President once again for giving me that opportunity.
I think I bring it up to the Vice Chair now.
Thank you, Chairman. Congratulations, Dr. Karanja, for your nomination. You have answered most of the things that members have asked. But there's something you mentioned yourself. I have two questions. The first one is, you said you were discharged from the office as Cabinet Secretary was not based on performance, but other considerations. Can you enlighten the committee what are these other considerations? Because you mentioned yourself, it came from you. Probably you might tell us what are these other considerations that you think might have happened. That's one. And the other question is about Brazil. You know, Brazil is a founder of BRICS. And BRICS is about 45% of the world's population. And more countries are joining, including our neighbor, Uganda. Will you recommend, if approved by this House, for Kenya to join BRICS, considering that we have some of our other traditional allies, like US, and remember we're also a NATO member. So will you recommend us, Kenya, to join BRICS, considering that the benefits that will accrue from being a member of BRICS? You talked about also the issue of a defense cooperation agreement. Tell us, what areas do you think Kenya can focus in terms of defense cooperations with Brazil? Thank you.
You may use that now and use your final 2 or 3 minutes to make a final plea to this committee for your consideration.
Okay, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Vice Chair, for your question. I think the other consideration issue, let's put it in one word: politics. and I leave it at that. Yeah, so that I don't second guess His Excellency the President, and that's it. In terms of BRICS and Kenya, yes, Brazil is a champion in BRICS and also the G20, and actually the 2024 it had the chair of the G20, and the BRICS is one of the areas, one of the organizations, multilateral organization where Brazil is championing. And this is a big organization with some of the biggest countries like China, Russia, and all the rest, which happens to be the countries which are not in the mainstream bilaterals. When you talk about World Bank and the rest, they don't have too much power. And our neighbors, Uganda is bridging to have a member. South Africa is a member. Even Ethiopia, our neighbor, is a member of the BRICS. And I would say Kenya fits the bill here in the BRICS, because these are countries which are similar to Kenya. They are compatriots in terms of developing countries. They have similar conditions, similar environment. So if I'm approved as this committee and as the National Assembly, I would promote the idea that Kenya joins the BRICS, because as a regional leader in this area, it will benefit a lot for Kenya to be in the BRICS. It is mature to have in the BRICS. There are benefits which you look into. We will look at the protocols and procedures for that to happen. And I'm sure, if invited and I'm appointed as the ambassador, then I'll help Kenya to do that. On defense, I'm sure this committee, being one which is responsible for also defense matters, is quite aware of what defense issues are there. But what I was talking about is a memorandum of understanding between Kenya and Brazil in terms of defense matters, which might contain other issues which are maybe not for public consumption. But definitely, Brazil has technologies in terms of even air defense forces and all that, which can help Kenya. So those are issues which I'm sure when the memorandum of understanding is done, will be discussed bilaterally and agreed upon. So I don't want to go into the details at this stage. So, as I requested by the Chair, I would like at this juncture to, first of all, Chair and honorable members, to thank you most sincerely for giving me this opportunity to appear before you. I don't take this for granted that you have given me your good time to be able to go through this vetting and also verification of my suitability for the position which I'm nominated for. And I would like to request you most kindly, sincerely, to consider me for the position which His Excellency the President has considered me and nominated me for. And to assure you that I'm not going to go there and say that because I have been a cabinet secretary, I will not do this job. I will do this job to my best of my ability. I will use my ability in terms of my knowledge, my exposure in terms of what I know in diplomacy, run from whatever else is there in diplomacy, whatever shortcomings I have in terms of diplomacy, I will improve on them. In terms of language, I improve on them. And in terms of communication, I also improve. I've learned a lot. And what I can assure this committee is that if you approve me and recommend me for the National Assembly for approval, I will not let you down. I will also promote parliamentary the diplomacy, making sure that this parliament, the Kenyan parliament, and what we have, the Congress in Brazil, has an interaction, making sure that because there is a lot to share among the two countries. So with that, Mr. Chairman and honorable members, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. If this committee approves you, be the ears and the eyes of the President in Brasilia, Brazil. We wish you all the best. We will wait to hear from the collective wisdom of this committee on whether they will approve your nomination or reject your nomination. All the best. You may now leave. So, members, if we, Dr. Members, if you just sit down so that we, you've just walked in. Where do you want to go? If you realize we've what? So we can still, we will still look at it anyway before the report writing. But I know we had, under Bongare, I know we had communicated yesterday, but allow me, for the purposes of the public, to communicate the communication. If you realize we have had to readjust our schedule because of those ones who will have appeared in the afternoon, we've asked them to come in the morning because one nominee, it looks like the destination Ghana is jinxed. This is the second nominee to decline their nomination to Ghana, and I would like to read a letter to the Clerk of the National Assembly that was written by Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu. And she says that I would like to give my appreciation for the invitation to appear before the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on 10 January 2025, 10th January 2025, at Parliament Building, Nairobi. Pursuant to Section 610 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act No. 3 of 2011, I wish to inform you that I will not appear before the said committee at the time and the venue specified for the approval hearing. This has been occasioned by my personal and compelling family matters, which matters, after taking into consideration, will not allow me to take up the position of the High Commissioner to Ghana as nominated by His Excellency the President on 19 November 2024. She further says that to save the precious time of the important parliamentary business as per the provisions of the Act aforementioned, kindly take note that this letter serves as a notice not to appear. Thank you for your invitation and follow-up. Consequently, it means that she has declined. And I think this committee, it is imperative now that we put notice to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Head of Public Service that they should do their due diligence in future when doing this appointment. There are so many Kenyans who are deserving these appointments. The picking of names of individuals who probably might not have been consulted or who have no interest to represent our country is not only an embarrassment to the country, but an embarrassment to the head of state. So we want to put on notice the head of public service and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that this exercise of dropping names of individuals who are not interested in being diplomats should stop and should be a bit more cautious and intentional in looking on people who have interest to serve the country and to represent the president in areas of their posting. It is extremely embarrassing that for the second time, Ghana nominee High Commission has had to decline this posting. So as a committee, we take that not very lightly, and we are putting notice to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Head of Public Service. They should be a bit more diligent and vigilant on the people that they send to Parliament. Thank you very much. We now allow Honorable Babu Namwamba, please. Karibu Waziri. Honorable Kwenya, please. Honorable Kwenya, order. You're most welcome, Mheshimiwa Babu Namwamba and your team. This is the Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations. And before we can get into the business of the day, I'm sure you're familiar with most of these members, but for purposes of answer, we will introduce ourselves. My name is Nelson Kipiegon Koech. I'm the chairman of this committee and a member of Parliament, Belgut constituency. My vice chair will introduce himself and the rest of the team.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Major Bashir Abdullahi, member of Parliament for Mandera North and the vice chair of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Memusi Kanchori, MP Kajiado Central. Karibu.
Good morning and Happy New Year. My name is Martha Wangari, MP Gilgil, member of this committee.
Morning, Joshua Chebiogon Kandie, MP Baringo Central, member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning and Happy New Year. My name is Freddy Kana, member of Parliament, Shinyalo constituency, and a member of this committee. I'll be quick to note that the nominee is a friend, but that will not impede my ability to assess his suitability. Thank you.
Good morning, Waziri and your team. I am Moses Krema, a member of Parliament from Meru County.
Good morning. My name is Abdulkadir Mohammed, member of Parliament, Lagdera constituency, member of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Kwenya Thuku, member of Parliament for Kinangop.
We have our parliamentary staff, clerk. Oh, sorry, my apologies.
My name is Yusuf Hassan. I'm the MP for Kamkunji. Thank you.
We will have our committee clerk introduce himself and the rest of his team.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Dennis Mogare, Committee Clerk, and I'm accompanied by 5 parliamentary staff.
Honorable Ababu, we also have the presence of the media with us here. Before we can proceed, I will then request the legal counsel to administer an oath.
I, Ababu Namwamba, do swear that the information I shall give before this departmental committee on defense, intelligence, and foreign relations on the matter under this consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mheshimiwa Babu, this is the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations is established pursuant to Article 1241 of the Constitution and the National Assembly Standing Order 216. Verification of documents, yeah, almost. That can happen as we... In the last few years, those documents have been verified by several committees in Parliament so many times. But that is what it is. The Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations established pursuant to Article 1241 of the Constitution and National Assembly Standing Order 216. Article 124A of the Constitution provides that when a House of Parliament considers any appointment for which its approval is required under the Constitution or an Act of Parliament, the appointment shall be considered by a committee of the relevant House. Additionally, the National Assembly Standing Order 216 spells out the mandate of this committee, which among others is to vet and report on all appointments within its purview. The purpose of this vetting is to ascertain your suitability to discharge the responsibility of the office of a permanent representative that you've been nominated to serve. We had asked the public if they had any memoranda for or against you. There is one that was against the appointment of all of you, like all of you in the sense of all the appointments that happened recently, particularly those ones of whose names were of former politicians. And there's the contest was on the approval of Mutai Kagwe, Lee Kinyanjui, William Kabogo. Those ones are as cabinet secretaries, and on you, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, as permanent representative of the UN, so rather UNEP, but UNEP representative. You've responded to the memoranda, and this committee later will consider both memorandas. At this point, then, I would like to ask you to give us a brief history of yourself, even though we know your history, but for purposes of record, family, employment, and education background. I'll give you at least 10 minutes to do that.
Honorable Chair, honorable members of this committee, let me, from the outset, express my appreciation for this opportunity to appear before you for this very important constitutional process. Let me also express my appreciation to the appointing authority, His Excellency the President, for offering me this opportunity to serve our country in this important space. Honorable Chair, I am a Kenyan citizen, born in Western Kenya, in Budalangi, Busia County. I have gone to school in this country up to the level of the university, attended the University of Nairobi, Parkland School of Law, where I attained a bachelor's degree in law, and was subsequently admitted to the bar as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And I remain a member of the Kenyan bar as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya to date. I also remain a member of the Law Society of Kenya, the society that manages the profession, the legal profession. I acquired further or postgraduate education, Honorable Chair. I was offered a scholarship by the State Department, the US government, that afforded me the opportunity to pursue a master's degree in international law at American University in Washington, D.C. in the US, where I had the opportunity not only to focus a lot more on the depths of the law, but also importantly, and perhaps relevant to this particular vetting, to focus on the workings of international organizations that include the United Nations. I have also had the privilege, Honorable Chair, to serve this country in various capacities. I have served as an officer of the High Court, which is a role assigned to pretty much every member of the bar or every member on the role of advocates. And so I remain an officer of the High Court of Kenya. I have also had the privilege to serve as a member of this honorable House for 2 terms. I represented Budalangi constituency in Parliament between 2007 and 2017. And during that stint in this House, I also had the privilege to head a number of important committees. I was chairman of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of this House. I also chaired the Public Accounts Committee. And I was also a co-chair of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Constitution Review that helped to facilitate our journey to the Constitution of Kenya 2010. I have also had the privilege to serve on the executive or in the executive arm of government. And I served as Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports in the coalition government headed by the 3rd President of the Republic, His Excellency the late Mwai Kibaki, and Prime Minister Raila Odinga. I served in that administration until its conclusion in 2013. I also did serve as a Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs between 2018 and 2022, before the last elections, and departed that position, Honorable Chair, in February 2022 to take up a new assignment as head of international relations in the campaign of our current president, His Excellency President William Ruto. And upon conclusion of that election, Honorable Chair, I was subsequently appointed as Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, which is now characterized as Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, a position in which I served between October 2022 and July 2024. I consider it to have been a very special privilege to serve my country in those capacities. A unique opportunity, actually, to have bestrode the three arms of government, having had a privilege to serve within the judiciary, within the legislature, and the executive. Honorable Chair, I have had the privilege of receiving a number of honors and awards. In December 2012 rather, His Excellency President Mwai Kibaki awarded me the Order of the Elder of the Golden Heart, first class, which is the highest civilian honor in our nation. And that honor was really partly in recognition of my contribution to the journey to our new Constitution 2010. I have also had the privilege of receiving other awards, as I have enumerated in the questionnaire, including the Hubert Humphrey Fellowship, which is a fellowship granted by the government of the United States of America through the State Department, the African Inspirational Leadership Award, which is awarded by the Voice Achievers of Netherlands, the Distinguished Young Global Leaders role is a role run by the World Economic Forum, to which I was inducted in 2009 in my second year as a Member of Parliament, and also in recognition of the work I have previously done, especially in the legal profession and in the civil society sector, where I have also done some work. I received the Global Social Justice Award in 2003 by Jubilee Netherlands. So the long and short of it, that is me, Honorable Chair. I am a proud son of my mother Agatha and my late father Peter, and also a proud father of 7 children. Yes.
Brilliant. It's a good one. So I will allow members to ask questions. Honorable Ababu has the capacity to handle more than 3 questions at a time. But I will ask 3 questions, and you respond to the 3. We'll take the next set. Honorable Yusuf, Honorable Martha Wangare, and Honorable Kandia.
Thank you, Chair. I've had the privilege of serving with the nominee in the 10th and 11th parliaments, if I'm not wrong. So I absolutely have no doubt about his competency, but I have 2 or 3 interrelated questions. The first one is the fact that he's been a cabinet secretary. In fact, he's been the chief administrative officer for foreign affairs and a cabinet secretary. So I just wanted to find out his motivation in this particular job, given the fact that this looks more like a demotion, like a climb down. And also in terms of conflict of interest, in the sense that he's been the boss of many of the diplomatic stuff in the past. I don't know how his relation would be now that one of your former subordinates would be a director of the department that you would be serving under as an ambassador. So I don't know how you would be, how you'd manage that and how it will affect or assist your job as our ambassador at the United Nations. The second one is that we do have, you're going to be the ambassador in charge of UNEP and UNON. These are 2 major, but we have a 3rd UN agency. And at the moment, it appears as if we have 2 missions. We have a mission that is in charge of UNEP and UNON, and we have another mission in charge of UN Habitat in 2 separate places, separate budgets, separate ambassadors. I just want to ask your opinion as a former head of the ministry, as well as now if you are selected, approved by this committee, the incoming ambassador, whether you think there is a need, particularly for a poor country like ours, is there a need to maintain two missions in the same place? There isn't a lot of work for two ambassadors, I must say, having worked in the UN system. And then finally, you're an international lawyer. I mean, international affairs is in a bit of a crisis. The world is in a global crisis. And Kenya has been a very strong subscriber to the idea of the rule-based global order. But this idea is under a major threat at the moment, as a serious threat. We can see that the Ukraine-Russia war, disregarding international borders there, of a major power trying to take a little country. We have another major military power, Israel, which has been fighting a war in Gaza, which has attacked its neighbors, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen, with impunity. And lately we have the president of a superpower, an incoming president of a superpower, the United States, that is threatening to seize Greenland, taking over Canada and Panama by force if necessary. Do you think these ideas of kind of a rule-based system is longer viable in our rough and troubled world? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I also want to note that those of us doing more than 2 terms have definitely worked with you, Honorable Babu. But I also give accolades to your mother, Agatha, because the name she gave you, I was trying to read it. I see why you use Ababu na Mwamba. Now I'm wondering, is it Pust or Fik, or is it one name or 2 names? Maybe you will tell us what that is. But anyway, to the substantial question. Number 1, UNEP being based in Nairobi, how do you think we can integrate UNEP with our plan as a country so that we feel it more? Because I feel like it is detached, yet it is in this country. Though it's not just serving Kenya, how do you think we can improve and link it up with the better and the bottom-up agenda for our country so that we can feel it more as a people and as a country? Number 2, in your career, and you have been very lucky because you've served both in the legislature and in the executive, and also have been a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court, I would ask specifically on youth and sports docket, where you have served twice in different time that you have been a CS in that ministry. Considering our youth badge, unemployment rate, what would you pick as one of your most held dear achievement in terms of contribution to the young people in this country? I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I want also to congratulate the nominee for this position. However, I have one or 2 questions. In 2003, 2004, you won a Global Justice Award by Jubilee Netherlands for what they call landmark work at Chambers of Justice, including cancelled debts for the child campaign, CADEC. Kenya is still reeling from massive foreign debts that couple huge percentage of its revenue. What exactly did you achieve to deserve that award? And to debt cancellation efforts? And 2, what, in your view, are the steps the country should take in diplomacy to cut back on its foreign debt portfolio? And what did you, during your 10 years, CS CAS to actualize such ideas, if any? And then the last one, I want to ask one question, because this position, UNEP, United, I think it is one of the best positions at the moment because of environmental issues. What will you do in order to help our major towns? For example, Nairobi. We have a lot of pollution, we have a lot of garbage all over, and also major towns in Kenya. What will you do to make sure that you engage our governors to make sure that our country achieves the role of hosting this UNEP mission in Nairobi?
Respond, Waziri.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. I will just roll one by one as the questions have come at me from Honorable Hassan, Honorable Wangari, and Honorable Kandie. Honorable Hassan has asked me some very fundamental questions that go to the very heart, both of the role I have been nominated for, and also the state of multilateralism generally, globally, and the threats posed to multilateralism and the principles and values that underpin multilateralism as a concept and a practice. And let me start with your question number 3, Honorable Hassan, through Chair. You're asking the threats posed to the rule-based global order and whether it can even be sustained, whether we can sustain this rule-based global order as we have known it since the end of the Second World War. My position, Honorable Chair, is that Kenya has taken a very consistent and a very progressive position on matters multilateralism generally, and on this matter of a rule-based global order. One, Kenya has been very clear on the inviolability of boundaries, which is also a core value and principle that underpins the United Nations itself, that boundaries are inviolable. Sovereignty is sanctified. And that really is the position our country holds, and a position that I personally, both as an attorney and a practitioner within this field, holds dear, that we must continue to uphold the inviolability of boundaries, of borders, and protect the sanctity of sovereignty. Of course, threats will always confront humanity, and that is why we have measures, including organizations like the UN, to confront those challenges. But we must remain firm that the moment you allow interference with these two principles unabated, inviolability of borders and the sanctity of sovereignty, then you will throw the global order into chaos, total chaos. The reason why the League of Nations collapsed before the world was thrown into the Second World War was because of half-hearted measures to stand up to the values that the world had come together to uphold under the League of Nations. The United Nations, as a successor to the League of Nations, has been very clear in not walking the path that the League of Nations walked. And that means that then those who bear responsibility, and this includes the UN Security Council, where Kenya has served recently, and I'm very proud, Honorable Chair, that while at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I played a very central role in the campaign that led Kenya's election as a member of the UN Security Council. The UN Security Council bears a critical role in upholding these values and these principles. All members through the UN General Assembly and the various agencies must remain faithful to these principles. And if confirmed, if approved for this role, I certainly, Honorable Chair, would make my contribution in supporting the position of our country and supporting the values and principles that make the UN the bulwark against the threats that the Honorable Hassan has brought to our attention. You have also asked about the architecture of the UN office in Nairobi, and have drawn our attention to the fact that we actually have what you can call double mission at Gigiri. The mission we call UNEP UNON, handling the United Nations Environmental Program UNEP, and the UN office in Nairobi UNON. And then you have the mission assigned to UN Habitat. Allow me, Honorable Chair, with your permission, to refer this Honorable Committee to a report you have previously prepared. And I had occasion to look at that report. I believe you released that report in 2023 or thereabouts, which draws attention to this issue. And I want to say that I wholeheartedly agree with this committee on the position you have taken, that number one, we need to harmonize Kenya's presence at the UN office in Nairobi, and as much as possible, streamline the operations of that place. It would be neater, it would be more affordable, it would be administratively more harmonious if you had a single mission. Indeed, if you look at the diplomatic presence of pretty much all the countries accredited to this capital, and by extension to Gigiri, they run a unified mission. You look at most of them, they run a unified mission where you have one ambassador representing their country to the government of Kenya, and also to UNON, UNEP, and UN Habitat. In the fullness of time, it may be useful and prudent for Kenya to explore the same path. Ultimately, it would save on costs, and it would also cut a lot of red tape that come with running a double mission. And perhaps the committee might want to urge the parent ministry, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs, to follow through on the recommendation that the committee has made. I place myself available in the event that I'm confirmed for this position. I would make myself available to contribute my thoughts on this matter towards a position that would be most beneficial to the country. Honorable Hassan has also asked me whether I feel demoted, whether I feel, this is quite interesting. You know, Honorable Chair, when I first appeared here in this same hall, sitting at this same chair in October 2022, and I was being vetted for the position of Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Hassan, you may want to know that a question was posed to me during that vetting on whether I felt I had been sent to the wrong ministry. Because the general sentiment in the committee at that time was that I should have been sent to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And the question was posed to me as to how I would find motivation, because I had just come from the foreign space. I had served at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I had just completed my task as head of international relations for our presidential candidate. And so it was almost expected that I would be named Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. But I assured the committee at that time that I come from the school of thought best exemplified by the words of Martin Luther King, the immortal words of Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King says that if it is your commission, to be a street sweeper, that is what God has ordained that you do with your life. Sweep the street so well that even the hosts of heaven would have no choice but stop and wonder and marvel and say, behold, there lives a street sweeper here. Who sweeps streets so well? It reminds me of the poetry of Shakespeare, the music of Beethoven, and the creativity of Michelangelo. That must be quite a street sweeper. That philosophy is about grasping any task handed to you and giving it your all. That is my philosophy. And so see, I was sent to the Ministry of Sports, and I believe that in less than 2 years, I elevated that ministry to one of the most phenomenal ministries in this country. Today, all talk in Kenya is about CHAN, AFCON, Talanta Sports City. I sit back and say, behold, what a street sweeper. The street sweeper who brought CHAN, who brought AFCON, who brought Talanta Sports City. And I am just happy that I had the opportunity to serve in that space and put my best foot forward and have helped my country to rise to a certain level in that space. So, am I feeling like I might struggle to reset my sails, Honorable Chair? Honorable Chair, the United Nations is the collective conscience of humanity. This is where the world converges to find solutions to the most phenomenal challenges of peace and security, challenges of poverty and hunger, challenges of climate change and environmental degradation. The UN is the focal point of finding solutions to these challenges for humanity. The United Nations office in Nairobi is only one of only four offices that coordinates operations of the UN globally. You have Nairobi, you have Geneva, you have Vienna, you have New York. So it is a critical diplomatic station, absolutely critical. The United Nations Environmental Program, or UNEP, today is seized off the most critical agenda to address what is an existential threat to humanity. Would I consider being handed an assignment to represent Kenya in that space a demotion? No. I would consider it a reassignment to a different role, a different responsibility. I believe I'm almost tailor-made for this position, given my learning, my intellectual capacity, my experience, my exposure, my globalness. I believe that this is a role that I would execute very well. I would not require any extra motivation because of what I believe the UN and UNEP to be, to the world and to the country. And let me also disclose to you, Honorable Chair, and the committee and the public, that I consider it to have been honorable and respectful and protocol that His Excellency the President invited me to a sitting to discuss this responsibility before it was made public, which I want to thank His Excellency the President for that. And I know exactly what His Excellency the President expects of me in that role because he personally explained it to me. I know where it ranks in his agenda and in the delivery of our better dream, and I believe that it is a task I would sufficiently execute, Honorable Chair, given the opportunity. Chair, Honorable Wangari, my friend, my colleague, has asked me about my names. Those are just my names. But I prefer to use the names I inherited from my grandfather. My grandfather was called Ababu Tera Luecheche. Okay? So I carry his names. So ideally, actually, I find a lot of pride in carrying the names of my grandfather, because in those names I find his spirit and the spirit of the lineage that I carry. And so Ababu Namwamba, Ababu is the name I carry from my grandfather. Namwamba is the name I carry from the family lineage, which is a long, large family. And the other names are given names, including baptismal names. You have asked a critical question, Mheshimiwa, about UNEP being integrated in our Kenyan agenda. And I couldn't agree more with you that even where I'm seated myself, I find UNEP and UNON a bit removed, a bit remote from what happens in this country. You go to Geneva and you see how the United Nations office in Geneva, how integrated it is in the soul of Switzerland. You find the same in Austria with the work of the UN office in Vienna. And certainly, the work of the UN headquarters in New York is a critical component of the work of the US government. This committee may want to note that even in the nomination of what they call the US ambassador to the UN, it's a critical role. Is a very high-level position, the manner in which the US picks their representative to the UN. And so we need to elevate, we need to hoist higher the stature of Gigiri, both in terms of the mission there, the kind of citizens we send to populate that space, and the agenda that as a country, because at the end of the day, Honorable Chair, even in the interaction between nations, the driving force is strategic national interest. And we must ask ourselves, we host UNEP, we host UN Habitat, we host UNON. What is our strategic national interest as a country? And certainly, given the opportunity, Honorable Wangari, through Honorable Chair, I would want to contribute to that. I would want to contribute to elevating the stature of Gigiri and integrating the work of UNEP and the work that goes on at UNON in what goes on in the rest of the country. So that when we are implementing better, we should be able to join dots between the programs of better and what goes on in Gigiri. Then we'll make it more relevant, and even the people of Kenya will feel the value of hosting these important offices. You have also asked me, I have served as Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports twice, and you have asked me what I would consider my most important contribution. I would name just two. The first is that when I first served in the Kibaki administration, I was the first minister in the history of this country to enact legislation to govern that whole space of sports and youth. And I remember on the 15th day of January 2013, as we headed towards the elections of that year, I stood on the floor of this house in the main chamber to move myself, because at that time you are both minister and member of parliament. I stood on the floor of the house to move the bill that has come to be called the Sports Act, which has really contributed to consolidating that space and giving it form, giving it substance. Lately, I would say that in my last posting, I have succeeded to elevate the stature of this space. And because you see, when you are sent to the Ministry of sports and youth affairs. And as I was asked during my vetting at that time, it appeared like it was a second generation ministry. But in the brief period that I have been in that ministry, I have succeeded to elevate the stature of that ministry and put in place some significant measures to focus on talents as an economic resource. Talents as an economic resource. And that this country can actually exploit the talents of our young people to make very serious contributions to the economic development of our country, to generate employment. And you can see in my time there was very deliberate investment in infrastructure. I mentioned the Talanta Stadium, the work that is being finished at Kasarani, Nyayo, all that was part of investing in infrastructure. We invested in identification of talents through the Talanta Hela program. Today, when you see our girls playing at the World Cup, our boys going to AFCON, our under-20 boys, it is a product, fruits of that effort. So I can say that for the time I have had opportunity to serve in that space, I have made very substantive contributions. Honorable Kandie, you also posed 3 questions to me. The third question is how UNEP can help with the challenges of the environment in our cities, in our major towns. And I'll just go back to the answer I have already given, that Kenyans need to feel the presence of UNEP and UNON more substantively. And I want to be that, when you are in this position, you have the privilege of being an ambassador who sits at home. Because ordinarily ambassadors serve away from home. But now you are both foreign in terms of Gigiri being a foreign space, but you're also domestic because you are at home. I want to use my presence here, Honorable Chair. I want to use my presence here to make UNEP and UNON more visible and more engaged. I want to work with members of parliament. I want to work with the organizations that work in this space to deliver the benefits of these organizations to the constituencies and to the grassroots, aware that ours is a bottom-up agenda. You also asked my contribution in government to control of debt. And I can tell you that sitting in cabinet, I have always been a very strong advocate of 2 issues. One is prudent utilization of resources, so that whether resources are generated locally or resources are borrowed, they have to be prudently utilized. And secondly, fair trade practices and fair credit systems, because the world today is very unfair, and this is an agenda which His Excellency the President has executed very well on the international stage, that the credit system, the World Bank, the IMF, the whole global credit system must be reformed to be more fair to the developing world, of which Kenya is a part. You also asked about the Jubilee Award and what I did to deserve it. I worked to draw attention to the issues that, in fact, I sit back and watch the speeches by His Excellency President William Ruto and other African leaders and leaders from the global south, and they talk about the unfairness of the global financial system. Those are the issues we drew the world's attention to, that at the end of the day, even when you talk about the environment, unless you deal with poverty, unless you deal with need, you really cannot make much progress. And that was really a campaign to draw global attention to that. It was a media campaign. It was a campaign that took me to various universities across Europe, in Strasbourg, in France, in The Hague, in Groningen, in the south of Netherlands, a global campaign to draw attention to that. That is what ultimately put me in the global eye. And of course, also, as an attorney, I remember filing cases that included cases that drew attention to the right to education for HIV-positive children, which just sort of revolutionized our concept of civil rights and liberties. So, Honorable Chair, those will be my responses to the 9 questions posed by the 3 honorable members.
Going to the next set, I want to urge members to keep your questions brief, and Ababu Tera Mweshimiwa, you also keep your responses brief. I'll go this way, then come there. Honorable Memusi, Honorable Kwenya, and then Honorable Brikadir.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations, Mweshimiwa, for your nomination on this very important role. Mweshimiwa, mine starts with family. You have indicated that you have 7 children, but I'm a bit confused here on your CV that your marital status says single. How is that? Are you divorced?
I find that personal, and
no, it's important.
No, it's not important.
Okay.
Let me just rule that it's not important. And Babu ignore it. You don't have to respond to that. Let's go to the.
You know it's on record, but I will skip it.
We have more serious business, Honorable Members.
I'll skip it. Mweshimiwa, you served at the Foreign Affairs. What did you do to lobby for Kenyans to occupy higher ranks at the UN, especially UNEP and UNON? Thank you.
Honorable Kwenya. No children, please.
Of course, I can't go that. But Chair, thank you, Chair. Yeah, in a special way, I want to recognize the contribution of the nominee to the nation since his youthful days when we used to admire him. But that notwithstanding, Chair, there's a very fundamental document that we have here, the questionnaire that should be filled in by the nominee. And certainly this is not the first time that the Honorable Ababu is meeting this or interacting with this questionnaire. And I see a lot of ambiguities, Chair, given the fact that this is a document of Parliament and therefore needed to be given some level of consideration and attention by the nominee, because I think the questions that have been raised here are fundamental for records. And specifically, I want to go to question number 21 on the issue of deferred income, future benefits. The questionnaire envisions the candidate to list the sources, amounts, and the dates. But the nominee has just stated the sources but not the amounts. Then on the other one is on sources of income. There's a lot of ambiguity because the questionnaire envisions list sources of an amount of all incomes received during the year, the calendar year, all that. Then number 25 again, statement of net worth. But of course I must appreciate that the nominee is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And looking at his result slip, either MADS do not like him or he doesn't like MADS. The issue that, what the statement or this, what this questionnaire is about is a statement of your financial net worth. A statement in accounting terms is a list of your assets and liabilities. It's because either if 500 million is your net worth, then it means there's a lot of ambiguity here, Chair, and I think this is a bit of clarity for purposes of record because this is a document of Parliament. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you, Chair. Mine is on climate change. My question is on climate change. I think climate change affects our environment in very many ways. And UNEP is about environment. I want to know what will you what role will you take in combating climate change? And also, in climate change finance and investment, what linkages will you create? How will you be able to combat climate change through your position? Thank you.
You can take one more because they were a bit brief.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me also join my colleagues in congratulating the nominee for the nomination and also for the positive acceptance of the nomination. I have two very short questions. Number one, Honorable Babu, I've had a keen interest in your profile and I've gone through the profile you have shared with us. You pride yourself to be a champion of Pan-Africanism and also a champion of shared continental prosperity. The office that you will be occupying at UNEP, if Parliament approves the nomination, we will expect you to be our best sweeper in the UN corridors, according to your own words. What strategies will you put in place to ensure that Kenyans who feel underrepresented in medium to senior ranks at the UNEP shall be considered in future, owing to the fact that we host the only UN headquarters in the Global South? Then finally, I laud your initiatives at the Ministry of Sports, one of them being the Talenta Hela. What strategy will you put in place to ensure that the many young Kenyans will also find a space through initiatives and programs like Mazingira Hela, if you're considered for this position? Thank you.
In 15 minutes, if you respond, Mheshimiwa.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Momisi, don't worry about children. You know, in the African sense, we even raise children of brothers and those who are not your own, but they are your children. And so don't worry too much. Yes, we are African and Africa is our business. You have asked a question on the role I have played to lobby for Kenya to occupy higher ranks, and I have already shared with this committee my contribution to supporting. I led from the very front in the process of getting Kenya to sit on the UN Security Council, and also even pushing Kenyans who apply for various positions within the UN system. It is a role which I can assure this committee that I would want to continue to play, so that we elevate the presence of our country in these spaces. Because the truth is that we are rather thin. We are rather thin in the middle and higher levels of the UN and other international organizations. Honorable Kwenya, you have raised issues on financial issues, specifically question 21 on deferred income and future benefits. And indeed, I have provided a statement there that I would expect some income and benefits from my holdings. I do hold some interests in Safaricom, the Cooperative Bank, Kenya Power, and I have indicated, without really providing specifics, because ordinarily you wouldn't know the specific amount of dividends that would accrue to you in any fiscal cycle, and so. But I have disclosed where I would expect some revenues to flow from. And on question 23, again, sources of income. I have indicated there are sources that have been available to me. And up to my last posting as Cabinet Secretary, which I have indicated, and also, Honorable Chair, I'm a pensioner from this House, which I have also indicated as a source of income. Question 25 on net worth, which I have provided there. And Honorable Chair.
Point of order, Chair. You see, Honorable Namwamba, the question is express that you list the sources and amounts, because the amounts are known, especially on your emoluments as Cabinet Secretary. You know what is due to you, how much is your pension. It should be stated in figures, because so that then we get out of these.
I will direct that you can provide later that information that Honorable Kwenya is asking.
Yes, thank you.
Proceed to deal with the other question.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would also, just for clarity and for the avoidance of doubt, I perhaps expected the committee to take judicial notice that the emoluments for a cabinet secretary is public knowledge. So is the emolument for parliamentary pension. But as you have directed, Chair, we shall provide the fuller details immediately after this session. Thank you. There's also the question on the net worth and the requirements to state the financial net worth, which has been stated there, and that is calculated from my two residences, my residence in Nairobi, my residence in back in Busia County, my country residence, my business interests, my shareholdings, my pension. That has been compounded to come to the total net worth of 500 million shillings. And should there be need for any additional information, Honorable Chair, that information is available and would furnish the committee with the same. Honorable Abdi Kadir, role in combating climate change, and I would say that there is no greater urgency in the world today than confronting the three planetary risks or perils: the peril of climate change, the peril of pollution, and the peril of biodiversity loss. Those are issues that are at the very core of the work of UNEP and the UN generally, and I want to make my contribution to this. Our country is very clear. The head of state, His Excellency the President, as the country's diplomat #1, has led from the front in drawing attention to important interventions like the carbon credit system, important interventions like carbon sequestration interventions. These are interventions that I would want to make a contribution to, and even see how we can push harder in realizing our better targets, like the target to plant 15 billion trees between 2022 to 2032, that 10-year period, which is really part of our contribution to carbon sequestration as an agenda. And so certainly I'll place myself available to make a significant contribution to that. And Honorable Chair, right now, UNEP is seized over the important agenda of the Plastics Treaty, an important instrument that would make a very key contribution to this whole space. Again, I'll make myself available, deploying my skills as an attorney, as a legislator also, to make a contribution to the conclusion of that treaty and making the benefits of that treaty available to Kenya and the rest of the world. And finally, Honorable Ikana, again, I agree with you that we have to elevate the representation of Kenyans in UNEP, and we must find a way to amplify the presence of Kenya, not just within UNEP and UNON, but within the UN system generally, because Kenya has always been an important player. And you have also shared an important thought on finding space for young people. Meita mazingira mazingira hela. And certainly we will want every space we go into, we must be conscious that we have a huge youth bulge, Honorable Chair. Our young people are skilled, they're energetic, they're innovative, and certainly I would want to explore spaces available within this space that can further advance the work I had already started with young people in my last position, where we provided opportunity for young people to deploy and benefit from their innate talents. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Vice Chair. You didn't show any interest. I only respond when you show an interest. But please proceed. You're taking more time in arguing than proceeding to ask your question. Please.
Anyway, thank you. Congratulations for your nomination as an ambassador, Ambassador Namwamba. The question is that in the year 2023, you were accused in the floor of Parliament for mismanaging the Kenya Special Olympic team through late procurement of air tickets, procuring substandard tickets, and many other things. And at the same time, you are also accused of failing to take charge of your ministry instead of shifting blame to the Federation, blaming the Olympic Committee for issues related to Special Olympics and the Football Federation for a number of issues. Now, taking into account that after we finished with you here, your name won't be forwarded to Parliament. If approved, how will you address concerns regarding to your past mismanagement and ensure that you uphold transparency, take responsibility and decisions instead of passing it to other bodies, and which is going to promote Kenya's global reputation effectively in your new role as an ambassador, Bwana Namwamba?
I think you took it with this one of the Vice Chair.
What's wrong with this man?
Congratulations, Honorable Namwamba, for your nomination. You have actually responded to most of the questions, but I just want to take you down history lane, a bit of history, because I'm sure some of these things it gives an opportunity to address now, so that even on the floor of the House, we'll be able to know that these are things that you have addressed. In 2023, while serving as Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, you submitted a correspondence to Parliament that was described at that time by the Honourable Speaker as strange and perceived by members of Parliament as contemptuous and disdain towards the institution of Parliament. In the letter, you referred to the issues raised by members as hearsay. And in the same letter, it appeared that you lectured the House on how to conduct its business, displaying an attitude that was probably condescending. Although you subsequently withdrew the letter and offered unreserved apology to the House, the contents of that correspondence remain relevant in assessing your attitude, conduct, and regard for democratic institutions. Now, if approved, how will you ensure that your engagement with stakeholders, both locally and internationally, demonstrates the highest level of respect, diplomacy, and regard for the principles of collaboration and mutual respect to institutions? Thank you.
May I respond?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Karima raises an issue that was a concern raised with regard to the Ministry of Sports in 2013. I believe it was in August 2023, to be specific. And it is a matter that related to our Paralympic team that had a mission or an assignment in Germany. I did appear in the House and substantively responded to those issues. It actually emerged that a lot of those issues were as a result of some misunderstanding, even in terms of the roles. And I believe, Honorable Chair, that that matter was sufficiently canvassed in that session. This is a house of record, and it is on record that I sufficiently responded to those issues, and those issues were then considered to be sufficiently dealt with. I have no doubt, Honorable Chair, that I have left a very good record as Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, and my record speaks for itself. I have raised the stature of that ministry. We have raised the whole space of investing in the talents of our young people, investing in infrastructure, the entire infrastructure program going on right now, whether you talk about the new stadium at Talanta or the renovations at Kasarani, Nyayo, Buhungu, Kandui, and other places, is because of the work I have done there. I have no doubt that being accountable to Parliament is a responsibility that comes with the office, and when issues arise, you bear the responsibility to account. I accounted to the House, and the record bears me as having sufficiently accounted, Honourable Chair. The question raised by the Honourable Major Retired Sheikh, the Vice Chair of the committee, again refers to another matter. In fact, the matter is tied to that matter, because when those issues arose, I did send correspondence to the House, and I was summoned to the House. I appeared before the House. The House did express the displeasure through both the Honourable Speaker and Honourable members. I withdrew that correspondence, Honourable Chair. I rendered an unqualified, unequivocal apology to the House, and knowing the rules and procedures of the House, Honourable Chair, as a House of record, once I rendered apology and withdrew, that matter was extinguished. It is off record. And I want to assure Honourable Sheikh and this committee that I have a very strong commitment to the spirit of collaboration, respect, decorum, etiquette, protocol. Those are things that define my service, and I assure this committee that I will be upholding the very, very highest standards of that, both in my dealings with this House, within the diplomatic corps, and with the Kenyan public and international community in general. I give that assurance. I submit, Honourable Chair.
Honourable Babu Namwamba, in 5 minutes, why should this committee consider you to be our next permanent representative to UNEP Union?
Honourable Chair, I have stated to this committee that I consider the United Nations to be a critical platform for the world to confront challenges that face humanity. Challenges that range from poverty and need and want to peace and security across the world, climate change, and the environment generally. I consider this to be an important position where our country can continue to demonstrate its thought leadership as a diplomatic force. I also consider, Honourable Chair, that the presence of UNON in Nairobi is a critical, or rather a great honor to this country. And in that spirit, allow me, Honourable Chair, to go on record as honoring the great Kenyan Dr. Joseph Odero Jowi, former ambassador of Kenya to the United Nations in New York, passed away in 2015, 10 years ago, but made a critical contribution, Honourable Chair, in convincing the world to bring the headquarters of UNEP to Nairobi. In the presence of the UN here, making Kenya only the 4th country in the world with a UN headquarter, and the only one in the global south, and in fact the UN headquarters in Africa, it is a great honor to this country. Kenya needs a personality that is well-schooled, well-experienced, well-anchored to deliver benefits of the presence of the UN in Nairobi to this country, and to help solidify Kenya's position as an important actor in the diplomatic space. Honorable Chair, I believe with humility that my training as an attorney, which also includes training that has extended to the international space. I did indicate here that in my postgraduate studies at American University, my thesis was actually around international organizations and the interaction with the world. I believe that I have the intellectual ability to execute this task. In addition to that intellectual ability, I bring experience in statecraft. Having had the privilege to operate within the judiciary as an advocate of the High Court, within this parliament, the legislature, as a member of parliament for 10 years, serving in the executive twice, actually 3 times in 3 administrations, the Kibaki administration, the Uhuru Kenyatta administration, and our Kenya Kwanza administration, I believe I have gathered sufficient experience that would prove useful to this space. And finally, Honorable Chair, I will not be going into a strange or new space by reason of my previous experience. I have spent time at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and while at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I interacted intimately with the UN system. I campaigned for Kenya to sit on the UN Security Council. I have represented Kenya at the UN General Assembly in New York countless times. I have interacted with the leadership of the UN officers in Nairobi, including the current Director General of UNON, Her Excellency Zainab Hawa Bangura, the current Executive Director of UNEP, Her Excellency Inga Anderson, and other officers that support the ecosystem of the UN in Nairobi. I believe I'll not be walking into a space that I'll find strange or new. I'll walk into a space where I am well familiar. I'm also familiar with a large number of our foreign service. And so I believe that I am ready to serve. And should you give me the go-ahead, should you give the nod, or should you approve of my nomination, Honorable Chair, I believe I would be a good fit, and I would be ready to hit the road right away. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Babu. We've listened to you. We know you. We can only wish you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Members, what do you suggest? We have... yeah, that's what I was asking. So we do a 5-minute break. Let's do 5 minutes break, and then we call IG Gabow, and also to allow our brothers, so we can finish on time, to allow our Muslim brothers to go and worship. So 5 minutes break. Yes, please leave at your liberty. Yes. Or you have to leave. No. Asante.
Of transformation, one that replicates across all the 47 counties in Kenya.
I, William Samoei Ruto.
When the Kenya Kwanza government assumed office in 2022, President William Ruto committed to transformative leadership through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, commonly known as the plan. Right from its inception, the Kenya Kwanza government identified 5 key pillars as the primary drivers of socio-economic transformation. They include agricultural transformation and inclusive growth, micro, small and medium enterprise, MSME economy, housing and settlement, universal healthcare, and digital superhighway and creative economy.
We came to the conclusion that the bottom-up economic model was the most optimal for all our productive sectors.
The rationale behind the bottom-up economic transformation agenda was to adapt a paradigm shift where, as opposed to a top-down approach of planning, we start by seeking the views of the integral stakeholders at the bottom of the economic pyramid on what measures and interventions by way of development they would wish the government to undertake based on opportunities available and informed by comparative advantages in all parts of the country.
Two years on, at the helm of the country's leadership, how does the government's scorecard look like through the lens of Kenyans? What interventions has the government deployed to support the realization of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda? Recognizing that food constitutes 54% of household expenditures in Kenya, the government prioritized reducing the cost of living through agricultural reforms. Two key strategies have been deployed to achieve cost of living reduction: fertilizer subsidy program and improvement of key agricultural value chains.
Remember, before this administration took over, the cost of fertilizer, 50 kilogram bags, was 7,500 Kenya shillings. Now we are talking about 2,000 Kenya shillings, 2,500, which has never happened.
2,500 inakuwa ni rahisi. Hata ukifanyia kazi, shamba unategemea kitu utapata. Maana pale unatumia 5,900 au 6,000, upati chochote. Ukija kuunganisha hiyo pesa uliyotumia, unakuta ni hasara tupu.
Hii fertilizer bag moja tulikuwa tunainunua na 2,500, ambayo ni bei mzuri sana juu kila mtu anaweza iafford, na ile ingine iko juu kiasi, juu kama ile unaenda kununua ya kahawa unanunua na 4,500, hiyo ni bei iko juu sana, lakini ya serikali imekuwa ni 2,500. So nimeonelea mimi mkulima mdogo, imenisaidia juu nimeweza kununua.
From the time this administration took over, which was the production of maize was 34 million bags, 90 kilogram bags. As we talk now, it has moved to 67 million bags. And we are looking at over 80 million bags going forward. That alone means that if stop importation of maize, the price of 2 kilogram bag was around 230. But now we are talking about less than an average of 130.
The fertilizer subsidy program involved digital registration of all farmers.
Once it came to the registration part of it, it was very easy for us. Because even those people who live far away from here, but they own shabas there, we could only contact them. And once they could come and register. So we were able to cover a good number and a good percentage.
Process here ilikuwa mzuri sana. Wewe ukisema uko na shamba wakuandike jina yako na waandike shamba yako kiasi yako. Kwa hivyo utapata message kwa simu yako, ukiambiwa fertilizer imekuja, uende bag na unaandikiwa ni bagi ngapi na unaendea wapi.
The Smallholder Irrigation Program is a government project that aims to improve the living conditions of rural households.
Mpango yetu kwa miaka 5 ijayo ni kuongeza sehemu ya kuzalisha chakula kupitia kwa irrigation kutoka ekari 1670 mpaka ekari 1.5 in the next 5 years.
The program supports farmers to use irrigation and not over-rely on rain-fed agriculture.
This maize has been grown using the water for Nyajigi irrigation project. Now the project intends to, improve the lives of our people.
Mimi nilikuwa wa kwanza kuweka hii maji na imenisaidia kwa njia kubwa sana, kwa sababu mimi kwangu imekuwa nimeipiga na mateke, kwa sababu saizi kwangu hakuna kitu ninanunuaga. Kutoka kitunguu, kutoka nini, hata nimekuwa hata wakuuza. Tunakuwa busy kwa sababu ya hii maji. Kwa hivyo sasa imenifanya nikafurahia sana, kwa sababu hii maji isipokuwa kama singekuwa naye singeweza kukua nikiwa busy hivyo. Kwa hivyo sasa nimefurahia, hata serikali yetu mimi naishukuru sana kwa kutusaidia kwa sababu ya huu mradi.
As part of efforts to revive the textile industry and boost cotton farming, the government has distributed 41,889 metric tons of BT cotton seeds to farmers.
Pamba inanifaidisha sana, kwa maana nilisomesa naye watoto wangu. Tunanunuliwa kwa cash, yani hakuna kununua kwa mandeni.
Toka to revive hii kibanda ya cotton, watu wengi wamepata ajira. Watu wengi wamekuwa wakikuja wanajisaidia, na wengine wanazidi kuja, tunawapea kazi.
A raft of initiatives have been implemented in the livestock subsector.
We came up with a plan a few years ago, and we are now seeing it to completion, of putting together a leather district. A big area where we just concentrate on leather manufacturing. This park is 85% complete. Actually, in terms of the leather production side, we are almost 100% done, and 2 manufacturing plants are already up, almost 100% done. Last year, we were able to do about 811 million liters of the formerly marketed milk, which is the milk that goes through the processors and is actually processed and found in the shelves of the supermarkets. With that, we've also been able to increase exports from 4.3 billion to about 7-point-something billion. A rise also in exports, and that has been because of our deliberate now export promotion strategy for dairy.
Unaweza kupata mikopo kwa urahisi uweze kutimiza mahitaji yako na ya biashara.
In 2022, the government launched the Hustler Fund to provide affordable credit to Kenyans, especially those at the lower end of the economic pyramid in Kenya.
We have made interest 500 times lower than the average interest rate in the market.
So far, we've reached out to 24.5 million Kenyans where we are today, and we have disbursed 59.5 billion as of today. Of course, then we introduce a mandatory saving component, and this mandatory saving component was to start now giving or mobilizing some sort of financial security to the borrower. So when you borrow, you start building your own financial security. So last year when we were doing the first anniversary, the top Hustler Fund borrower had accessed close to 4.5 million cumulatively. And this top borrower had saved close to 450,000.
The fund has helped the MSMEs and groups to save 9.3 million shillings. The government committed to construction of 200,000 affordable housing units annually.
We've already awarded projects of over 124,000 units across many parts of the country. They are under various stages of construction, and that has been made possible by the funding that we have managed to get. We are collecting just above 6 billion shillings a month towards the construction.
The jobs created through affordable housing increased by 188,256 in 2024.
We usually have around 160 workers per day. We have the masons, the casuals, the electrical people, the plumbers.
Vijana walikuwa hawana kazi, lakini wakati tulianza waliweza kupata kazi. Kuna wale walikuwa wanatumia miadarati, tukaona wameachana nazo na wameanza kufanya kazi hapa.
Huku niko like workers, department ya chuma. Hapo before sikuwa job, so maisha yangu haikuwa sawa. Na tangu niingie kwa hii job, naona niko sawa. Nalipa nyumba, naweza kusomesha watoto, wanakula. Before ilikuwa hard.
The number of affordable housing units under construction or completed increased by 94,128 units in 2024.
The first phase that we began last year, around September, is now getting to completion. So by end of this year, we should start now handing over keys to Kenyans who have really contributed towards this program.
Actually, I want to tell Kenyans that the project is actually existing. A child cannot just be born and start walking immediately. So we are still at the stage of nurturing the child. So let the citizen just be patient. Let them just have hope that you are going to deliver the project. They are ongoing.
The mortgages refinanced have increased to 1,005 mortgages, representing 40% increment since 2022.
The 1.1 trillion out there as loans, you'll find almost 600 billion is going to support the housing project, affordable housing, 600 billion. And you say most of the main loans go for five years. So in essence, every year we are giving around 150 billion to support the housing agenda.
Between 2022 and 2024, 213 Juakali artisans have received prior learning assessment and recognition by the government.
Kutokana na hii affordable housing imenisaidia sana juu nilikuja nikajiunga na kikundi cha Structure, wanaume wakanisaidia sana, kanifunza kufunga chuma. Sasa mpaka serikali ikatulipia fees, tukafanya mtihani kutoka kwa NITA na sasa tunangojea certificate.
Tumefaidika na hii mradi juu hata serikali ileta watu wa NITA. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa mtu akienda kuuliza kazi ukiwa na certificate yako ama cheti yako ya kuonyeshana wewe kweli ni mfundi.
The right to health is a fundamental human right guaranteed.
It's the start of the year and it's time for us to actually revisit our finances.
Look at it holistically as a person who exists, as a Shiko, with all the things you do. That budget should address all of them. Yeah.
So definitely, so we're looking at the smart ways to start 2025. So right now you've said, let's account for everything.
In the current wave that we're in right now, prices are going up every 3 months. It might slow down, but if we're to go with history, so Kenya was in the same place it is now in 1991, where our cost of goods went up by 100%.
Oh, substituting, yes.
Let's find ways of cutting our costs Dining out. Do you have to go out every weekend? Think about it. If you can't afford it, you can't at this point. But find fun things.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me? I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevatishwa. Sile wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tukapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah.
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Let's begin by basically hope nini. Won't understand hope kanini.
Now hope does not disappoint because the love of God has been poured out in our hearts by the Holy Spirit who gives hope. And that kind of hope is not based on probability, it's not based on what we see, it's based on what we believe.
Wow.
We're not planted the right place. When your season comes, you either bear or you not bear fruits.
Wow.
So there's a season where you put in work.
Got some things to tell you. Keep on believing. Keep on pushing forward. Yeah.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Well, go on, my brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to share down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She says she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Colder,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunongwa. Hadija ai, mani especially ukisonga.
Good morning. My name is Kwenya Thuku, Member of Parliament for Kinangop.
And to my immediate left is Parliamentary Committee Clerk. I will ask him to introduce himself and the rest of the parliamentary team.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Dennis Mogare, a committee clerk, and I'm accompanied by 6 parliamentary staff.
We also have the presence of the media, IG Gabow. I will then request the Sergeant at Arms to administer an oath, and at the same time pass papers for verification of your documents by the legal counsel, and then pass them further to members.
I, Nur Gabow, do swear that the information I shall give before this departmental committee on defense, intelligence, and foreign relations, the matter under its consideration, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Aji Gabow, no, this is the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations. The Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations is established pursuant to Article 1241 of the Constitution and the National Assembly Standing Order 216. Article 124A of the Constitution provides that when a House of Parliament considers any appointment for which its approval is required under the Constitution or an Act of Parliament, the appointment shall be considered by the committee of the relevant House. Additionally, the National Assembly Standing Order 2165 spells out the mandate of the committee, which among others is to vet and report on all appointments within its purview. The purpose of this vetting is to ascertain your suitability to discharge the responsibility of Counsel General that you've been nominated to serve. Honorable Gabow, if you can take a few minutes to do a quick introduction of yourself, your family, educational and employment background before I can allow members to pose questions or comments to you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman and honorable members. First, let me take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for nominating me for this post of a Consular General for Haiti. Mr. Chairman, my name is Nur Gabow. I was born in 1967 in Wajir, and since then I went to Wajir Port Primary School, Bura Primary School, Mandela Secondary School, Garissa High School, where I completed my A level. And later on, 1988, I was recruited as a cadet inspector in the Kenya Police Service. For the last 36 years, I was promoted through the ranks. Therefore, I served in different areas in this country. I was the OCS Maseno, OCS Ahero, Kisumu OCS Crime Branch, OCS Nyakach. And later on, I served in the Kenya Police College as instructor for a period of 9 years before heading to Parklands Police Station as OCS, as an OSPD of Gigiri, and later on, I moved to Bosnia, where I joined the United Nations for a period of 1 year in peacekeeping. I returned back to the country, and I was made the Chief Transport Officer of the Police College, and later on I proceeded to Sierra Leone and Liberia in the peacekeeping in terms of training the local police within UN. And during that period, I joined the UN headquarters in New York for a period of 5 years, being the in charge of the African desk of the peacekeeping of the Department of Peacekeeping Operation. And that's where Honorable Yusuf, we met during when he was working with UN as a senior officer. I came to African Union to be an advisor to the African Union as a UN for a period of 2 years in terms of the African RECs. The 5 African RECs is where I was dealing with them in terms of policing and ensuring that all police academies in Africa is interconnected. And I returned back to the country in 2018, whereby I was posted to Operation Headquarters in the police. Later I was promoted and went to Northeastern as a Deputy PPO. I was transferred to Police College as Chief Instructor and Deputy College Kiganjo. I came back to Police Headquarters as the Director Planning. And 2017, I became the College Commandant Kiganjo. On 2018, I was promoted the first police officer to head the Administrative Police Service as a Deputy Inspector General, where I stayed in that post for a period of 6.5 years until July last year. I was transferred to public service as an advisor to the Ministry of Interior and the National Security Advisor on the issues of Haiti police reform. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. That was quite brief and precise. I'll allow members to ask you a few questions or comments. I'll start with the Honorable Yusuf, then Honorable Karima, and then Honorable Wangare. IG, if you take 3 and then we respond to them, then we take the next set.
Thank you, Chair. I have 2 questions. The first one is relates to Haiti. You are going to be, if you're approved by this particular committee, you're going to be our Consular General, our first Consular General to Haiti. Haiti is the only other Caribbean island, apart from Cuba, that we have diplomatic relations, or we have established diplomatic relations with a mission. This is a tiny country with a small population. It doesn't have any commercial or business links with Kenya. So I just wanted to find out from your thinking, what do you think is so important that Kenya should establish a mission in Haiti? What is in it for us as a country? The second question I have is on the fact that Haiti is a failed state in a terminal crisis. And it is facing an almost intractable problem. It is an enormous problem that only the deployment of a major multinational force, fully backed by a robust UN Security Council mandate, can turn things around because of the complexity. Would you say that the deployment of 400 Kenyan police contingency is almost a joke, a drop in the ocean, and in a way, as it looks as if our allies are setting us Kenyans for failure? Since you were part of this mission and the preparation for this mission, don't you think that its success is very limited unless things can be turned around and a major multinational force is deployed there? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Nur Gabow, my question is that as a former police officer in charge of a number of institutions you have mentioned to us, and having interacted with some of us and having known a number of the way you approach to issues. Now, the training you have undergone is to face difficulties and to solve those difficult issues, especially when it comes to cattle rustling in Kenya, especially the northern part of Rift Valley, the banditry issues in the areas you have been posted like Wajir and many others. Now, you know, what's existing in Haiti now is somehow a difficult situation. And Mr. Gabow, you have no diplomatic training, neither issues to do with international relations. How are you going to jungle with the issues in Haiti and make sure that Kenyans' interest comes first? And you leave the station you have been posted to better than the way it is, taking into account that, as it has been stated by my colleague earlier, is a failed state. Lastly, is that the country you are going to as languages which are not familiar to you. Is either Haiti language or French language. And in your forms, I've seen that you are not saying that you are familiar with those languages. And this is a country whereby it has no Honda as we speak. It has no Honda at all. And you require also even to intermingle with the locals there to make things work, knowing that it's a gangster state whereby it's helter-skelter in all issues, both day-to-day life and even to international life. What are you going to do to make sure that you are understood by the people whom you are going to serve there? What kind of PR are you going to apply, taking into consideration your background? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, I'll ask, first of all, I want to congratulate you on your nomination because you've had an illustrious career as a career civil servant, and you have serious training in matter security and strategic planning.
So I would also want to hear how you will apply that in the new station that you would be headed to when approved or if approved by the House. But my question is on the welfare of the over 400 Kenyan police who have been sent to the Multinational Security Support MSS Mission 2023 in Haiti. And as you know, because you have grown over the ranks and ended up as a DIG, you know for a good reason why our Kenyan police are not unionized. So they may have issues in terms of their welfare, but they do not know where exactly to voice them. So I will be asking, what do you think? Because there have been some voices coming saying they have not been paid, then they have not been paid on time. How will you assist to ensure that this is done, considering your background, that it is done in time, and not just there, even in this country? How will you help to ensure that is done in time? And in your career, because you have worked throughout for the last 36 years, in terms of the area you ended as a policy maker, as a DIG, what would you say is your major achievement in the police force or the police service that you'd pick and say that you're proud of, that as you exit the service or as you take another assignment, that you can say that you made a change in terms of policy intervention at that level?
Respond to those three, IG.
Thanks, Chairman. I'll take the questions order of priority. Yusuf, Karima, and Wangari. Honorable Yusuf, Honorable Wangari, and Karima. The first question of Honorable Yusuf, the issue of that Haiti is a failed state. I want to put it clear that Haiti has challenges. This is a country which got independent in 1804. It's one of the first African countries which got independent in 1804. The country has a lot of challenges. And when the UN Security Resolution 299 of 2023 was endorsed, and the Secretary General and Haiti has written a letter to Kenya for assistance, we as a country, we saw the need that as a lead nation, as a country which has participated in peacekeeping over 20 peace missions with our military, our police, the country, we came to the assistance of Haiti, and were able to send. I went to Haiti 4 or 5 times to do assessment. I visited their police stations. I visited all their infrastructure and some of the areas where we see before we deploy. Therefore, there was a due diligence. A due diligence was done by the country to go down there with the technical people from our security agencies to ensure that if we send our officers, therefore we look at what positive achievement we can get to once we deploy our officers. Therefore, we have in June 25th, we sent the first 200 officers. I went with them, settled them in the airport, and we were able to do engagement, and we sent them. And here in Kenya, we have sent some of our best police officers. We are not sending people who only know streets. We have sent our GSU, we have sent our border police, we are sending our anti-stock theft units, officers who have been tested in some of the areas Honorable Kerema was talking about. Therefore, we have sent the first 200, and within a 2 weeks span, we were able to send another 200. Therefore, 400 officers on the ground, and they were joined by officers from Jamaica, and this week they were joined by 150 officers from Guatemala. Therefore, there are a lot of officers coming. But what I will say is this: the officers, when they have been deployed, 400 officers, together with 4,000 Haitian police in terms of, they are required to be 11,000. But currently, those on the payroll, those who are working, are 4,000. Therefore, generally, that mixture of 400 Kenyan police officers to give support as per UN Security Council resolution, they were able, within the first 2-3 months, they were able to get hold of the airport. They were able to get hold of the port. They were able to free and the police training academy, where over 700 police officers have been trained now to join the other police officers. They were able to clear some of the roadblocks along some of the major highways within the Port of Prince. Therefore, there's a lot of achievement done by 400. During our assessment, what we have said is we require 2,500 police officers. 2,500 police officers. In terms of failure, UN were deployed to Haiti. They stayed 15 years. There were 15,000 police UN officers on the ground. When they left, Haiti went back to the same problem in terms of challenges the country was facing. The president was killed. There were a lot of issues. To me, what I will say is the 400 police officers from Kenya, they have done a lot of achievement in terms of, and the 600 officers who have been trained, who are undergoing training, and who will be joining them in the next 1 month or two, that will be an achievement, and we shall be able to free Haitian people from the gangs which were terrorizing some of, and the humanitarian corridor will be able to be open. The other one is the hostel. The only hostel in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, was open, and you've seen in the papers. Therefore, a lot can be done by our. Therefore, generally, what we call the Kenyan police will be doing a lot, and the opening a mission it will be the best in terms of ensuring that some of the issues officers are having will be able to be tackled by our embassy. Therefore, the next question is from Honorable Krima. It's true that I served in North Rift and some of the challenge area during my time, that's 6 years in the police, but also I've stated in my introduction that I've served in the United Nations in former Yugoslavia, Sierra Leone, United Nations headquarters, where over 5 years in New York, I was able to interact with 192 member states in terms of discussing and working with the ambassadors and high commissioners in New York. And I also privileged to have been in Addis Ababa interacting with the 54 member countries in terms of working with them on some of the challenges police, African police face. Therefore, generally, I will say that the security, my security credential, which I'm bringing to the table, and since the mission, the MSS mission in Haiti is more of a peace and security mission. Therefore, and one of our pillars is peace, security, diplomacy. That's the key indicator that my credentials plus the diplomacy, which I will bring it through my years' experience with the United Nations, will be a key in this mission which we are opening once I'm confirmed. The issue of language, Honorable Kirima talked about language. I understand for a diplomat, at least a language is a key. And I want to inform Mr. Chairman, the honorable members, that our officers, before they left, the 400, they were able to undergo an intensive 6 weeks training on Creole and French here. And right now, when they went there, therefore, we took them another 6 weeks back at Haiti for them they were able to interact. Therefore, to me, learning, I will not stop learning, and I will be able to learn, me and my team. And also, I know the mission will be able to, we shall have a multilingual team who will be able to work with the embassy. Also, the other question of Honorable Wangari, what strategies, the strategies I've learned in my years in the police. Since I joined the police as a cadet in 1988, as a middle-level officer, as a young age of 21, I was able to command police stations in Maseno, Ahero, and other areas. And also, I was a trainer. And since I climbed the ladder and becoming a DIG, what I want to say is that strategy, my training, my background, seen in some of the worst areas where I've been deployed in the missions, coming with that experience is what made me to use the strategy I've learned over the years to propel police in Kenya. Also, Honorable Wangari talked about the welfare of officers. One thing which is there is, I want to honorable members, Chairman, is that the Kenyan police officers in Haiti, they have been paid. They have been paid their salary. and the IG was very categorical in the press. But right now, opening this mission will enhance the welfare. The welfare will be key. Also, the other thing is we are developing a peace fund, which will be ready by the next 2 weeks, like the military, whereby our central bank will have a peace fund for the police. Therefore, the money will come straight, and within a short time, they will be able to fund. Therefore, general officers are being paid; their welfare is being taken care of. The other question is, what are some of my major achievements, Honorable Ngari? My major achievement is I was a trainer for a period of 9 years in the college, and roughly over 20,000 police officers went through my hand during that earlier period. And also, since I was the Deputy Inspector General, one of the issues creating the two services of the police and the AP, working together, ensuring that the two services have a cordial relationship. And also, I was able to propel the AP to be a police service whereby today we have units which take care of our border, our stock theft. We have units who are doing excellent job in terms of fighting with terrorism and cattle rustling in some of these areas. Therefore, generally, a lot of reform agenda was brought to the police during my time. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kana, and then Honorable Abdikadir.
Thank you so much, Chair. Allow me to also congratulate our senior officer and our nominee for the post of Consular General in Haiti. Mr. Gabow, I have two very brief questions for you. Number one, we all agree that it's important that Kenya, being a global peacemaker, plays its role in ensuring that we return Haiti to the rule of law, peace and stability. But I want to know from you, what are the areas of strategic collaborations that you're looking at post the chaos? That's my question number one. Question number two, Bwana Gabow, I will request you to flash back events preceding the 15th of August 2022 declaration of the presidential results at Bomas. Some of us were there. And of course, we note that, and all Kenyans will note that there were very many ugly scenes just before the declaration of the presidential results. As an officer who was in charge of the command at that time, would you say, of course, with the benefit of hindsight and retrospection, that you would have better prepared for such kind of an important exercise for the country? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Let me also congratulate Mr. Gabow for the nomination. My questions are brief, and I'm asking these questions as an Haiti expert, because I think nobody knows Haiti more than, you're the person who visits Haiti most of the times, and I can say you're an expert in Haiti. There's a question, there's a report that the police officers which were deployed to Haiti are leaving the service in mass or in large groups. Is that report true? As an advisor to the ministry, and also a former DIG who deployed the police officer. Secondly, knowing the problem with Haiti, or the current situation in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, I think, is a war zone, sort of. Where will your office be domiciled? Your office, where will it be domiciled? The third question, although which has been asked, but I want to know, other than the security issues, do you have any other areas that will collaborate, or for the mutual of both countries, for mutual benefit of both countries? Thank you.
Excellent. You might respond, IG.
Thanks, Chair. I'll respond to the question from Honorable Kana. Areas of strategic collaboration. Haiti and Kenya are members of the Global South, and also the South-South cooperation. Therefore, there's a lot of areas of cooperation, strategic cooperation, which is required. But in terms of technology, in terms of economic, cultural, the way I said, Haiti got independent in 1804. It had challenges, but it has a lot it can offer to Africa and the larger world. Therefore, generally cooperation in terms of bilateral cooperation, we can have a bilateral agreement with Haiti. We can have economic cooperation, at least trade cooperation can be done. Also, we have already signed an agreement with Haiti in terms of ensuring that further cooperation can be done. In the area of the issue of 2022, 15 August, it's true that I was in charge of Bomas, and I want to tell honorable members and the chair that I received the Ndugu Award for 22 for Peace, which is in my folder. Therefore, to me, what I can say, with all the challenges, we, the National Police, had done credible achievement during that period. Our role was to make sure that peace and peace and tranquility is kept within the Bomas Talent Center. We were working as police officers like in other talent center in the Republic. We were working for the IBC as employee. And what I want to say is, whatever we have done, the same is the principle I could have used even tomorrow if I made the in charge. The issue of Honorable Abdul Qadir, is there officers who are leaving their mission? I want to state clearly, and I've said, officers are being paid their salary. No officer has left. Officers are doing an excellent job. We should not be seen in the issue of the social media. The social media can be so destructive in some of the areas, but the officers are being paid. They're doing an excellent job. I went there 4 times, and the officers have even recovered bigger areas. One, the issue of the airstrip. Today, before February 2024, nobody could even land in the airstrip. But today, for 400 officers, they were able to secure the airstrip, the port, free flow of goods corridor has been opened. The training school for the police, 700 of them are undergoing training. The hostel, the main hostel, the Kenyatta of Port-au-Prince is working. And also the State House. You know that the former president was killed, but therefore there is where our officers are covered. Therefore, generally, no officer has resigned. Officers are doing an excellent job. They just require support from all Kenyans. The other issue is, where are you domiciled? If confirmed, I will be domiciled in Port-au-Prince. There are already 30 embassies currently in Port-au-Prince. Generally, I think so. We shall be joining those other embassies to ensure that since we are a lead nation of the MSS and the interests of that other 30, Kenya, within the South-South, within the CARICOM, there's a lot of opportunities which are there in terms of economic, in terms of security. All these things are issues which we can benefit as a country, and our country can benefit more once Haiti, over 12 million people, of an area of 27,000 square kilometers, just like a Mandera or Isuelo type of a country, and we have 12 million people. Therefore, the areas of cooperation I've already said. Kenya can the issue of trade. We can export our coffee, our tea, our textile to Haiti. We shall be able to ensure that the peace, we as a nation, as a lead nation, if it prevails, there's a lot of opportunities Kenya can get. Thank you, Chair.
2 gracious ladies, if you introduce yourself, who just joined us. Starting with Honorable Governor Daktari.
Very good afternoon. Irene Kasalu, MP Kitui County and member of this committee.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Millie Odhiambo Mabona, member of Parliament, or bad girl, of course, and member of Parliament of Suba North. Apologies, I've just come from the islands in Suba North, and I'm happy to arrive in time to find Mr. Nur Gabow. The last time we met was under very unfavorable circumstances in Bomas, so it's good we are meeting in more calm circumstances, and I only hope that you'll be able to extend the expertise to help calm Haiti. Thank you.
So in short, you have approved him?
No, I have not. But from the questioning, Chair, I can see you are approving him from the way you are.
Honorable Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Nur Gabow. You know, the mission out there basically is a security mission. Kenya probably will re-up if the country is stabilized. For now, we are not talking about what Kenya can gain. It is actually what Kenya can put forth to stabilize the place. But after stabilization, do you have plans for Kenya to benefit? Because remember, we are the first country to take the peacekeeping police force there. So do we have plans and strategies to ensure that once the country is stabilized, Kenya gains more? What plans do you have in place so that now, as a country, we gain from a stabilized Haiti?
So you can respond to that? And after you finish with that response, I'll request that you use the next 2 or 3 minutes to... After you make the response, I will request that you use the next 2 or 3 minutes to make a passionate plea to this committee on why you strongly believe that you're suitable for this position that you've been nominated.
Thanks, Chair. First, let me thank Honorable Millie Odhiambo for that comment she made. I'm very thankful for her, the meeting we had, and I was just having Kenya during that period. The Honorable Major Bashir asked Chair the issue of what benefit can we get from Haiti. I alluded here earlier that Haiti is a country which got independent in 1804. They have a resilience. It's a country, when you go up there, you see these are Africans who have been brought slavery from some part of Africa, and all these years. With all the challenges they have, there's a lot we can benefit once the situation is stabilized. And I said earlier that Kenya, under UN Security Council Resolution 299 of 2023, we are a lead nation. The first time we are becoming a lead nation in a 17,000 kilometers away near Americans, Central Americans. Therefore, our country has been chosen to provide, out of the 2,500 police officers, 1,000. And I said we have sent some of our elite officers with experience in some of the far-flung areas, those officers who have done wonders in this country, provided security to our countries in northeastern other areas and our inner cities. And they are doing excellent. 400 officers have done excellent job. The accumulation we are getting from United Nations and other partners, that 400 officers can turn the tide of a country whereby all the diplomats were living on, before the day 25th of June we have arrived. Therefore, there's a lot of benefit. The benefit here, Kenya, economically, Kenya can benefit within the Central Americans, the Haiti, the Dominican Republic, the Jamaicans. Majority of those countries they speak English, and generally we can have export in terms of trade. We can, our tea, our coffee, our textile, all can go to Haiti and some of these countries once we stabilize. Secondly, when we arrived on 25th of June, Haiti with the Kenya Airways, that changed the tide in the whole of in that region. They have never seen an African country come in with troops. And these are multilateral, it's not a UN mission. This is an agreement between countries supporting another country in need. Therefore, generally to me, a lot, Kenya can achieve a lot. We supported Southern Sudan, whereby a lot of Kenyans are working in Southern Sudan and other areas. The same applies with Haiti, where economically, in terms of trade, in terms of peace, in terms of training, a lot can be achieved within that. Thank you, Chair.
Is that your final remark?
Chair and honourable members, thank you for giving me this opportunity to present before you. I've said in my introduction, I've served this country for 36 years. I've joined the police as a cadet in 1988. I served in different parts of, as a young officer, age 21, I was OCS Maseno, the youngest during that time. I came to OCS Ahero, OCS Nyakach, Paputriti, and served and trained a lot of officers. During my period, I also served with the United Nations, 5 years in New York, thinking about policing and peacekeeping in African continent. Coming to African Union, 2 years, working with the African RECs, the 5 RECs of Africa, ensuring that all training academies of Africa is interconnected in order that we can share some of the training. Mine is, I thank all of you. If you will be able to consider my nomination for Haiti, I'll be able to assist our officers who are on the ground, 400 of them, 600 are going, and I will make my security expert, my training will be an added advantage to our country in terms of ensuring that I'll be able to promote and to protect and the Kenyan interest in Haiti. Thank you, Chair.
Just for your information is that we had also asked Kenyans if they had a memoranda against or in favor of you. None was against or in favor of you. So I just want to ask you this question, purposes of records, that have you complied with the Kenya Revenue Authority tax obligation clearance?
Yes.
Compliance with the Director of Criminal Investigation?
Yes.
Certainly, of course. Compliance with the Office of Registrar of Political Parties?
Yes.
Higher Education Loan Board? Yes. ESCC?
Yes.
Have you ever been charged in a court or of law convicted?
No.
Do you hold dual citizenship?
No.
What's your financial net worth, Mr. Gabow?
It's 128,500,000.
Thank you very much. This committee wishes you the very best if you are approved. Until then, you have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, members, that marks the tail end of our hearings today, approval hearings. It's been very short and precise. I think you've done justice, especially that we are on recess. So lunch will be served. I will pay the bill. Meeting stands adjourned. Downstairs.
Chair, is there double lunch for those of us who have traveled? Chair, is there double lunch for those of us who have traveled the whole night to come here?
It is everything. Just present yourself with the venue.
From Fangano Island.
What do you know about Kenya?
Kenya is a country in East Africa known for its diverse wildlife, national parks, and scenic landscapes.
Are you still wondering just how it's even possible for a machine to listen to someone and speak back? Well, That's a remarkable demonstration of the power of artificial intelligence, a technological innovation that has been developed to simulate human intelligence and perform tasks that typically require human cognition.
AI are just here to lend a digital helping hand.
Through AI, machines can understand human language, interpret spoken commands, generate human-like responses, and even engage in meaningful conversations. This has enabled the creation of virtual assistants, chatbots, and other AI-driven systems that enhance human-computer interaction and improve productivity in various domains. The Global Media Congress held in Abu Dhabi in November 2023 addressed topics related to the innovations in media and digital landscapes, with a specific focus on the application of artificial intelligence in journalism and the challenges associated with its adoption.
Welcome to the Global Media Congress at the wonderful Emirate of Abu Dhabi. We have some special guests joining us today to the fascinating world of AI in media.
Generative AI has literally happened in explosion in 12 months. It's the fastest adopted technology just about ever. And that is quite mind-blowing.
I come from America, specifically the state of South Carolina. I live currently in Dubai, where I am a teacher, and I came here to network and to experience and learn more about media because I have a passion for that as well.
Attending this Congress has really emphasized the purpose of AI in the field of media, and it has really shown that a journalist can work hand in hand with AI to produce perfect content for the audience.
We live in a world where you need to be very innovative, very creative, because the world is becoming more and more demanding. It's crucial that the media follows suit or walks in steps and embraces what happens around it.
The CEO of the Media Council of Kenya, David Amoyo, was one of the delegates attending this second edition of the Global Media Congress, and these were his 2 cents about AI.
Principally, AI is, you can put it in the broadest basket of innovation and new technology. So it's a new improved technology and innovation which helps make work easier. The crunching of numbers, the digesting of things, the translation of information and all that. So I would say that in principle AI contextually is a technology to make the work of newsrooms and media houses easier and faster.
AI is actually an enabler. It's supposed to help you to become better, to produce better, to improve on the content that we produce, to improve on the news and so on and so forth. So speed is one thing, and of course there are many areas of improvement.
It is a wonderful technology, one that is useful in the media for such things as production and enables one to do a lot, research, documentaries.
Dans la recherche documentaire, dans la recherche de plein de choses, mais je pense qu'avec les risques.
But due to the risk associated with this technology, I think there is some anxiety. However, it is a valuable technology. All you need to know is just how to use it.
L'apprécier, de savoir comment l'utiliser.
Being an innovation that has been developed to simulate human intelligence, AI has experienced periods of rapid progress, leading to the development of powerful tools encompassing a wide range of technologies designed to simulate human intelligence and perform tasks that typically require human cognition. Categorized into various types based on their functions and applications, some AI tools include